Hi, this is Michel Comte. Yesterday we talked about portrait photography. Well, I told you that I took at least 1,000 portraits. Today I want to tell you about my second favorite picture I took. It was when I shot Jeremy Irons in London for Interview magazine. I had the great luxury to work with some of the most amazing art directors in the world. And this one here came from Fabian Baron. Fabian Baron just started working for Interview about a week or two before I had this assignment. And he called me, said, do you want to shoot Jeremy Irons? He has a movie coming out shortly. It's called The Reversal of Fortune. Well, I heard about that film because I knew Cosima von Bülow, the daughter of Wolf von Bülow. When I approached this session, it felt very Kafkaesque. I was sitting in the Concorde that took about 3.5 hours. I landed and I called to the studio to get a monocle, to my stylist and my prop stylist, and to get a black horse into the studio, get riding gear, black turtleneck. It was very, very last minute because I did not want to take the route of Klaus von Bülow. It would be too obvious. I arrived in the studio and Jeremy was standing in the door, extremely handsome, extremely charming. So he took my shoulder and he said, my dear friend, what are you going to do with me? I studied your pictures. I want this to be your best picture. I said, well, let me tell you what I want to do. Do you wear makeup? He says, anything you want. Can you cry? At any moment. You like Kafka? Read my biography. I knew he loved Kafka. So I started smiling and said, of course I know you love Kafka. So he had this amazing monocle. I attached a very long leather string, had his hair slicked back tight, and I told him to light a cigarette. He went on the set, my camera was ready, I had my one umbrella, grey background, nothing else, and I played the Goldberg variations from Gould, because it puts me at ease, gives me great comfort. Cigarette was in his hand, the ashes were getting longer and longer, and he wanted to rub his hand, and he started crying, and tears started coming from the right eye, as tears started coming from the left eye, his eye makeup started running, and I started taking pictures. First picture, second picture, third picture. After that picture, I told Jeremy to put on his breeches. Breeches are riding pants, and I told him to face the head and to kiss the forehead of the head and put his head against the head of the horse and push, back up, grab him by the bridle, push against the head. I got this extraordinary photograph, and he had a whip below that he started moving, that was not in the frame, and the horse started rearing up a tiny bit, and I started taking pictures. This went on, the session was I think 12 pages, and it became a memorable session. And a few weeks later, Reversal of Fortune was screening in New York. We went to the screening and I got a phone call from Carrie Donovan. Michel, I have Interview magazine on my desk, the very first copy. You know, we are not interviewed. We are the Times, we're the New York Times. Could you please, tonight, take a lot of photographs of Jeremy Irons? A few hours later, I went to the St. Regis Hotel, my team was already there. Jeremy was getting ready, it was like family. And I took the next portfolio of Jeremy Irons for the New York Times. Reversal of Fortune was a big, big success. There was a great line, one of the last lines in the film. Jeremy's lawyer told him when he was sitting in the car, Mr. von Bülow, you're a very, very strange man. Von Bülow, he said, sir, you have no idea. Now this is the second story of my second portrait that I've taken that is become iconic, very, very well known. And if you do this, if you decide to do this, you will always have a story to tell. And the great thing about our work and about portrait photography or any kind of photography you do, there's always a story you can tell. And they're endless, they're beautiful, they're interesting. You might change them a little bit. Some people change them as time goes on, as our memory shifts. But something that doesn't change is the picture that we take that stays forever. And I see you tomorrow. Thank you very much.